All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's Battle of the Books logistics meeting. We are about, what, 6 weeks out, 5 weeks out? We're excited. We are very excited to welcome everyone back in person, and we know you are as well. We have a lot of information that we're going to give you tonight, but I want to let you know that we also have a lot of information that we're still working on. So we ask you to be patient. We ask you to watch your email. That's really, really important. Watch your email because we're going to be sending information your way, and watch the FAQs page of our website because we'll be adding information there as well. So lots of information to come tonight. We're going to take questions at the end, but please go ahead and put them in the Q&A now. We'll give priority to those questions in Q&A. Any other questions about Zoom for this meeting tonight, the specifics, logistics of that, you can put in chat, but any questions related to the event, please put in the Q&A. And I've got with me tonight Simone Kolnick, our event producer from the library, and Carrie Gast and Stacy Friedman, who are on our Battle of the Books committee as well. So welcome everyone, and let's get started. So a couple of things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about goals for the students. We're going to talk about coach responsibilities. We're going to talk about all the new things this year. There's a lot of new things, new exciting things. Some of the logistics for tonight. We're going to talk about digital posters. We're going to talk about important dates, parent responsibilities, and again, just a note that we're still working out a lot of the details. An event of this size and magnitude has a lot of details, and especially when we are doing this for the first time in person in 3 years. Our last Battle of the Books in person was 2019. We were about a month away when we had to shut down 2 years ago. So our last our Battle of the Books in person was in 2019. And this is the first time we have all been together in one location. Normally we are separated into 6 different schools, and we have 6 simultaneous Battle of the Books. But bringing everyone together was the best way that we could figure out to make this work in a safe way, in an outdoor location. So there's just a lot of details to work out in a brand new venue for us. So we ask for your patience. And again, we ask you to watch your emails as we send more information to you. So goals for students. We've talked about this before, but again, some of the biggest goals for students are to build teamwork skills, to learn good sportsmanship skills, to read different genres, books that kids may not have been interested in before, have maybe not exposed to before. So our team of library and school staff have done a phenomenal job of picking out your selection of books. And so I hope your kids are all enjoying them. To increase their reading comprehension, and above all else, to have fun at Merriweather. Like, how often do you get to come to Merriweather without buying a ticket to a concert or waiting until you graduate? So we're just so very excited to be able to go to Merriweather, and we're grateful to our friends at Merriweather for helping to make this happen. Coaches. All right, there's a lot more information to come later on about the posters, but we'll need you to upload the Google Jamboard or Slide digital poster to Dropbox. Again, more information to come later on. To know your seating section. Now, you don't know it yet. You might be saying, but I don't know my seating section, but you will. I promise. We will be sending out to everyone, and we will be posting that online. So again, watch your email. We'll let you know what your seating section is. That's going to be really important. The DEC teams, the Digital Education Center. I think I've got that right. Ensure that your teams have access to the Zoom web browser or the Zoom client 5.9 or above for all those teams that are participating virtually. Build team spirit and encourage good sportsmanship. That's really important, right? This isn't about winning. This isn't about having the highest score. It's about building team spirit and good sportsmanship, having fun. Coaches, really important that you convey information from us to your team members and their parents. We want everyone to be successful in this event, and so they need the information that we send to you. And then respond to communications from us in a timely way. There might be times when we need to hear from you by a certain date. And so we need you to respond to us. All right, preparing for the battle. Again, we've talked about some of this in previous meetings. Some of you may be getting started on this now, but holding mock battles or Jeopardy style games based on the books. Have your students compose practice questions, quiz each other during your team meetings. Remember that questions on all parts of the book are valid. I saw a question come in today about what about the dedication? What about things in the table of contents? What about this? What about that? If it's in one of the books that we have provided with you, it's fair game. Contact your school's media specialist to see if there are other teams from your school that are participating, and maybe y'all can practice together. And then the other thing to get ready for, is so if you have been to a Battle of the Books in a previous year, if you've been a coach before, or you had an older child, you know that we had team photos because of the size of this all together in one person event. We're going to have sort of like selfie stations, photo booth stations at Merriweather, so teams can take their own team photo at these places. So just as a FYI on that. Sample types of questions. We talked briefly about that. So the answer to any type of question is always the title of the book and the author. So it could be a direct quote from one of the characters, as you see here on this screen. So the moderator would say, quote, "I am nothing but a half-crazed, feather-headed old maid," end quote. And the answer would be "Ghost I Have Been" by Richard Peck. Quote, "What is a library?" Answer, "Aunt Chip and the Great Triple Creek Dam Affair" by Patricia Polacco. Another type of question, a statement about something that happened in the book. So for example, in which book does a family's special friend arrive inside the coat of a man looking for a job? And the answer, the title and the author. In which book did we learn that King Louis XIV had a collection of 413 different beds? Title and the author. Another type of question, a passage directly from the book. So her hair was yellow and her face was yellow because she had always been ill in one way or another. Out of all of his dreams, his was the one he liked the best, even if it seemed to be the one most out of reach. So it's a passage from the book, separate from a quote. So these passages you see here were not said by someone, but it was written by the author. And then details about an illustration or a picture. In which book does a nasty lady wear crescent moon earrings? In which book will you find illustrations of water ballet moves? So 4 different types of questions about anything in the book. All right, new this year. We have a lot of new things this year. So this year, we're so excited that we have one of our authors, Padma Venkatraman, who wrote The Bridge Home, will be joining us for a 30-minute live online Q&A on Tuesday, April 26th at 7 o'clock. So she will be in conversation with student moderators. She asked that she be in conversation with our students. So if your student would like to be a moderator, there's a link on the screen. We will put that on the website as well, where people can apply. They need to apply by March 31st. But we hope you can join us for that. It's just a wonderful way to get to hear from one of the authors of one of our books this year. Okay, the other big thing is we're at Merriweather. So again, we used to be in 6 different places all on the same night. Now we will be all together in the same place, thanks to our friends at Merriweather. So the teams and their coaches and the event staff, volunteers, there's covered seating. So if you've been to Merriweather, you know there is some covered seating. There is not enough covered seating for all the students and their families. That's very important. All the teams and a coach and staff will be in the covered seating. There is lawn seating for the spectators. There's a lot of lawn seating for the spectators. And in previous years, we had to limit how many people could come just because of capacity in the high school gyms. But we're at Merriweather, we don't have to worry about that. Do you want to keep an eye on the weather? You want to dress for the weather, dress appropriately for the weather. If it's cold, if it's rainy, wear a raincoat. But this is the way that we can bring everyone together and do this in person this year. We do have a virtual location for the DEC teams, and Simone has been in contact with those teams. We'll talk a little bit more about this. The other new thing this year is, instead of paper slips, answer sheets like we have had in the past, we will provide each team with one electronic device for them to enter their answers for scoring. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So there's a lot of, like I said in the beginning, there's a lot of new things that we're going to throw at you. And some of these things we're still working out, so please be patient. But these are the big things. This is the seating chart, and so our teams will be in the red sections in 203 to 204 from one side to the other, and we will be assigning each team to a section, and we will be communicating those assignments with the coaches. And we will also be talking about how you get registered, or how you check in that night, where you go, and all that sort of thing. All right, so this is your basic layout. Probably the judges will be on the stage. We're looking at where it says GA floor, the general admission floor, or also known as the pit. That's probably where the photos will be, the photo booths, selfie stations. And then of course, all the lawn seating in the back here. Again, we will post this seating chart. We will post the map of Merriweather on our website. Okay, outdoor event notes. So as I said before, dress for the weather, wear a raincoat, wear a jacket if you need to. Merriweather is not requiring tickets for entry. There is free parking in nearby garages. You will not be assigned a parking space or a parking garage to go to as you generally are for a concert. However, Merriweather staff will be directing people toward the garage depending on how quickly they fill and what time you arrive. So watch they call it the green team, will be directing people to the garages. So there's a garage over on the corner of Broken Land and Little Patuxent. There's a garage in the Tenable building behind Merriweather, over in the Merriweather district. If they need to open up parking at one of their assigned spots over at the mall, they will. But again, watch for more information to come about that. And the other cool thing about this is that you can bring food and beverages into Merriweather. So if you want to come, we'll talk a little bit about when you can arrive, but you'll have the opportunity to come a little early. And if you want to come, bring food, if you're coming right after work, or even having to take off a little bit, or choosing to take off early a little bit, you can come and bring some food and beverages. They are not planning to have concessions there. So anything you bring in, you need to do yourself, and then of course, pack it out. All right, speaking of, so coaches may begin checking in as early as 4:30. You don't have to arrive at 4:30, but if you would like to come at 4:30, that would be great. Trying to check in, we have nearly 300 teams, so that's about 1,500 people. Normally we give people about an hour to check in, but that's when we are at, say, 50 teams per school, not 15, or not the 300 teams. So if people can begin arriving at 4:30, that would be terrific. If accompanied by their coach, students may check in at 4:30. If not, if they are coming with their parents who are not coaches, they can begin checking in at 5. All team members must be checked in by 6:45, especially again, with an event of this size, with this many kids. We need to make sure everyone is in their seats and ready to go by 6:45. If you're not here by 6:45, you won't be able to participate. There's just way too many variables here. So we really need everyone to be on time. But you've got a pretty large window here. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Simone to talk about the DEC and how they're going to participate.
All right, thank you, Christy. Can you hear me well? Perfect. And hi, everyone. So our DEC virtual location, we've already received confirmation from the DEC teams who wish to participate virtually. I think we have a few. If you forgot or remember after tonight's meeting, just email us at bob@hclibrary.org and indicate to us that you would like to participate virtually, and we'll count you in that. It'll run similar for everybody who's familiar with last year's virtual battle. It'll run similar to that battle. However, there will definitely be some adjustments made for this year, and you can kind of consider it like a trivia night on Zoom with Bob-related rules. So for Howard County Public School System issued Chromebooks, students can, again, use the web version of Zoom. For other devices, they can update the Zoom client to version 5.9 or later the week before the event. We just say that so you're getting the most recent update. Set up for the night of the event, we just ask now that the Zoom display names are changed to the team names for security, so similar to last year. So your Zoom won't say, Sue last name, you'll say, the best reads or whatever the team name is. So we just definitely need parents and coaches to help students make those adjustments. The way that they do that in Zoom is by selecting the 3 dots on the top right corner of their photo. So that they refer to that as the Peapod or the snowman in school, I believe. You can also set if you're on the Zoom client, you can set your view to side-by-side gallery. That is so the students can clearly see the slides, because all of our questions are going to be nicely displayed, so they can see the slide as well as anything that the moderator is sharing. And having the video on is optional for privacy. So we'll provide a virtual background that's also optional, similar to last year. All right. So we ask again that everyone that's going to be using the virtual location just logs on 15 minutes early to get settled in, so that coaches can account for their team members and change their display names to the team name. The Zoom participant link will be emailed to the DEC coaches the week of the event, and it's really important that you just please don't share that link with anyone outside of your team. Participants will discuss their answers in breakouts, and we'll have chat monitors as well as help desk staff available to help with any technical issues. Captioning services will be provided as usual, and there are additional details to come about just the rules of play, as well as a possible run-through meeting for anybody who feels that they need that. Okay. All right, so overall battle, how does it work? We're going to have 40 total questions. Those questions are going to be split into 2 halves or 2 rounds. So 20 questions will be asked, and we'll go into a break, and then the next 20 questions are asked. Those questions include 2 bonuses within the first round and the second round. The battle includes at least 1 question about each book. The moderator will ask a question about the book twice, and it'll also be displayed on the screen. And this is true in person at Merriweather as well as in the virtual location on Zoom. Teams have 30 seconds to select their answer choice on their handheld devices. So it's a remote response device, handheld. You guys can designate who is making those selections, or if you want to take turns, but you'll have 30 seconds to make your answer choice based on the multiple choice answers on the screen. The DEC teams, of course, will enter their answers in Zoom. Their timing for responses will also be slightly adjusted, but that information will be provided offline. Okay. So teams may designate one person to select answers or have members take turns. After the 30 seconds, the correct answer will be read by the moderator and displayed on the screen. Moderator moves to the next question for that round, and there will be 2 points for each correct answer. So the correct answer, I think we'll get into that a little bit more soon, but correct answers are the correct author and title, or title and author. It's one line, one question, one answer, and that answer is worth 2 points. There are 4 points awarded for the bonus questions. We'll have a 20-minute dance break, in the sense that music will be played. There will be a 20-minute break. We know people are going to be making a mad dash to one of the many bathrooms at Merriweather, and we'll have a digital poster parade at that time. So your Jamboard and Google Slide files that you are uploading to us, they're just going to be put into a slideshow. There'll be music set to that, and we'll enjoy them. All right, award categories, top scores. So we're gonna award it to the to the 3 top scoring teams, meaning first, second, and third place per seating section. So that means, as Christy shared earlier, we've broken up Merriweather into 6 sections. I don't know if we really spoke to that on the chart yet, Christy. But let me speak to that really quick. At Merriweather, the nice colorful chart you saw, there's section 200, 201, 202, 203. The section in the center, 200, 201, 202, 203, and 204. The section that you saw in the center is 200. We've split that in half because it's the largest section. So pretty much you can look at those sections as like how you would view the high school locations of the past. In each of those sections, we're going to choose first, second, and third place for the top scores. Each member will receive a medal at the event. Trophies for each of the winning teams will be delivered to the schools in May. Okay, and then our other award categories. So we have decided on best team costume, best team name, best team poster, and best team sportsmanship. That's going to be awarded to teams in levels of first place and 3 honorable mentions per seating section. Each team member for these categories will receive a certificate on site at the event. So as far as costumes go, judges will look for costumes designed and produced by students. They will reward creativity and use of recycled items. So not necessarily the most expensive or flashiest costumes, but really how the students are getting creative in reusing items and just showing sustainability there. Costumes must comply with all requirements listed in the Howard County Public School System Policy 9210, student dress code, including but not limited to no gory costumes, no masks, no toys that resemble weapons, no rollerblades, skateboards, or other footwear with wheels. And if you're not allowed to wear it in school, you're not allowed to wear it to the Battle of the Books. Just keep that in mind. All props must fit under auditorium seats. I think that is one of the most important considerations for costumes this year is the students and their coaches are going to be sitting in auditorium seats. You don't want anything that's too large or cumbersome or heavy that anyone has to keep in their lap the whole time that won't fit under the seat. So just keep that in mind as you are considering your costume options.
Simone, can I just jump in here a second? And I just realized that we say no masks on here. Keep in mind, this was written pre-pandemic. So obviously, if you or your students want to wear a face mask, yes, as we've all been wearing for the last 2 years, that is absolutely positively okay. Yeah. They're not
no
required
Batman.
To. Right, no Batman, no Lone Ranger. That's nothing covering your eyes. That's the main thing. But yes, absolutely. If you want to wear a face covering, as we've been doing for the pandemic, that is absolutely acceptable. Yeah.
Good point. Thank you. Okay. All right. So the digital poster parade. So for anybody that's a newcomer, each year that Bob was in person, there would be a poster parade where the students would assemble and then parade into the gym, holding their team posters while the photographer is capturing photos. We're asking, again, to kind of eliminate the debris and just all of the items that we need to take into Merriweather. We're asking that your team submit digital posters for the 20-minute dance break. The teams may choose to collaborate on Google Jamboard. It's hyperlinked here if you're not familiar with using Jamboard, or Google Slides. That's also hyperlinked in this presentation. This presentation will be posted to our website, our Bob website as well. You can use Google Slides to create your poster. Now, we know that we're a little over a month out from the event, and some of you have already started working on your posters, or perhaps even completed your posters. That is totally fine. Just upload the image file for us, and we will include it in the digital poster parade. So there are instructions here later in the presentation, as well as on these hyperlinks, of how to create, how to download, and how to upload. Your project files are due no later than April 10th. Before midnight, and there's a Dropbox link that's also copied here. And I'm thinking, Christy and team, that we will send an email tomorrow. When we send the email recap, we'll include these hyperlinks for you all, so that you don't have to wait for the presentation to be posted. But there's a Google Dropbox where you can upload your file. The team digital posters will be featured on screen during the break. Yes, you can take a photo of your completed poster if you already created it. So these are just instructions for how to create a file in Jamboard. You can, read them. You click on Add to create. File name format. That's really important for us. So as we share, we're going to be judging for best poster, best team poster. So tomorrow, one of the things you're going to receive is your seating section. So that just means you're going to have, based on your team, you're going to have a section assigned to you, 200 through 204. And we're just asking that you put that section ahead of your team name when you're naming your file. So the file name format is going to be the section number and then your team name. So a couple of examples: 200, the Reading Rockers; 201, Blitz; or 202, Bookstars. Please do not share the file. Instead, just download it as a JPEG or a PNG. It just really needs to be an image file for our AV team. So I know last year we accepted PDFs. That actually presents somewhat of a delay for our AV team, because they have to make certain adjustments, and it just is time consuming. So JPEG or PNG image files are what we're asking for. And yes, someone's asking in the chat whether or not you can bring your physical poster. It's up to you if you can fit it below your seat. We're trying to leave space between the teams if you want to fit it in an empty chair or so, I don't know. But just keep in mind that we are not judging your physical posters. Our team just doesn't have a use for your physical posters in the event. So we're not going to be judging your physical posters or really even using it to identify you necessarily. For the Google Jamboard files, click on the 3 dots for more actions, and save frame as image is what you want to do in order to get an image file, JPEG or PNG. Again, you'll name the document, your section number, and your team name, and upload it to the Dropbox. 2 more examples there. Again, 200, the Reading Rockers; or 202, Bookstars. The Dropbox link is included here, and we would like these by April 10th. In recognition of going to spring break. So this is pretty much due right before you go to spring break. All right, so some important dates. April 10th, digital posters are due. Google Jamboard or Slides files get uploaded to Dropbox. The week of April 18th, the DEC teams, just remember to update your Zoom client if that's what you're using and not the web version. Don't have it in here, but just keep an eye out, because your rules for play and all of that will come directly to those DEC coaches. We have another member of our committee that's working through the virtual location with us, and we'll provide that. If you guys feel like you need to practice or have a test run through, that can also be coordinated for the week of April 18th. April 26th, of course, is the 7 p.m. virtual author event, the Q&A with Padma Venkatraman, author of The Bridge Home, and registration is open. The link is here, as well as it's already on the website, on the Bob website. It's been up there for a little while, so you can register directly there. There's a slot for you to submit your question for the author during the registration process. April 29th is Bob at Merriweather. The outdoor event begins at 7 p.m. Our DEC teams will start at the same time. I think it's important to mention that, even though they are in a virtual location and relying on the production that's happening within Zoom, they'll still start at the same time as us. And we're asking them to log on 15 minutes early to get settled and account for their team members and change their display names. They'll also have a 20-minute break. Sections will be released tomorrow. So your section at Merriweather is going to come via email, along with a lot of these helpful hyperlinks. Parent responsibilities. So respond to communications from coaches in a timely manner and ensure that your student arrives to check in at Merriweather on time. Again, parking is free and it's open. The gates are open. We're not ticketing, but when the students get into the venue, into the actual amphitheater, we're going to check them in at a table and send them down to their coach or their row. So again, ensure your student arrives to check in at Merriweather on time. So starting at 5 p.m., but no later than 6:45 p.m. so they can participate. We have tons of updated FAQs at hclibrary.org/battle of the books. So take a look there. Yes, students can bring food and drinks and snacks into Merriweather. DEC parent responsibilities. So again, respond to communications from coaches in a timely manner, ensure access to Zoom web browser or Zoom client, the most updated version, so 5.9 or higher. Change your DEC students' Zoom display name to the team name. If you're using the client, you can set it to side-by-side gallery. Log on 15 minutes early to get settled and update your name, as we said, and upload and enable your virtual background if you would like. If you do not sign the photo release, you can turn off your child's camera. That's totally fine. And again, you too can check the FAQs on the Battle of the Books website. Do we mean 3/23 for, which date was, Christy, you wanna go back one slide? Someone's asking, do we mean March 23rd? Oh, yeah, we will send the sections. We'll send the sections at Merriweather tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow's March 23rd, if that's what they're referring to, correct?
Oops. Sorry. Trying to find the right page, which obviously I'm not. All right.
So sorry. After the battle, scores will not be posted. Coaches will receive their team score within 14 business days of the event. All scores are final. Team and other event photos will be posted to the HCLS Flickr page within 2 weeks of the event. So we'll still have our photographer capturing everything. The audience, our photographer will capture some teams, all of the action. They're just not going to be focused on taking a team photo for every single team. So you guys can enjoy the nice photo backdrops and the selfie stations. Go ahead, Christy.
Thank you, Simone. Okay, before we get into the Q&A, I want to take a moment to acknowledge our generous sponsors who make this event possible. This, as I said before, is an enormous undertaking, and it really would not be possible without our generous sponsors, especially our presenting sponsor, the Josephine B. Scheffenacher Education Trust, as well as the Downtown Columbia Arts and Culture Commission, Friends and Foundation of Howard County Library System, the Howard County Public School System, the Howard Hughes Corporation, and the Maryland 529 Plan. So we really thank each of them for supporting this event, for making those books, those sets of books available that everyone got in the fall, as well as everything we need to do to make this event possible. So thank you to our sponsors. Oops. And what a cute picture from a few years ago, our website. Okay, let's move into Q&A because I know there's a lot of Q&A.
Okay. How many attendees can accompany each team?
As we stated earlier, there is no limit this time. So we do not have tickets. If your whole family wants to come, that's fine. But remember that only the covered seating is available to the teams and their coaches and our event staff. So it's lawn seating for everyone.
Okay. Is it okay to laminate the parade poster board?
Sure, if they want to.
Okay. What happens if a teammate arrives late? What happens if someone needs a break during the competition outside of break time?
So as in previous in-person battles, if someone needs a break, they just go take a break. We will have staff who can help direct people people need to go to the bathroom or whatever. That is absolutely fine. If a team member arrives late, we really ask that they don't, because it's not fair to the rest of the team who's gotten there on time and is kind of carrying the team without them. So let's try not to have that happen if at all possible.
Okay, I'm going to jump to some of the chat questions. Can you explain a little more about how the coaches or how the teams will be sitting? We've got several questions about which coaches sit with their team, or how many coaches sit with their team, and also if the team is sitting in a straight row or between two rows, and kind of tagging on with that, can students stand up so they can better discuss, or do they need to remain seated?
You want me to take that, Christy?
Sure.
So as in previous years, one coach will be permitted to sit with the team. So we are allowing one coach to sit with the team in the amphitheater, and the teams will be kind of stacked rather than placed in rows. So one team will be kind of split between two rows so that they are somewhat of a square, across rows. And of course they form a square. Of course, we will provide to you your team's rows. And the last question about, sorry,
is whether they could stand.
Oh, so I think that if students are standing really, I'll be careful, number one, to not spill over, go tumbling, to the next row. But if students are standing really quickly just to huddle and then sit back down, we definitely want to encourage everybody is seated generally during the event so that there is visibility for everyone behind them.
Along with that, it says, will teams from one school be sat together?
I believe so.
In the same section.
In the section.
Yeah,
right.
But not necessarily the same row.
Right.
Yeah.
And seating, once again, do they huddle around the device, or the one device per team?
One device per team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do teammates check in together?
If they arrive at the same time, Chrissy, I think we're both saying the same thing. If they arrive at the same time, yes. If not, no. I think what we will ask and stress is come straight to Merriweather, come straight inside the amphitheater, come straight through the gate, straight to the table that's near your section, so everybody will know their section. If they don't, of course, we'll have people there to help them, but just check in right away and we'll seat them right away. We just don't want to create, for anybody who's been to Merriweather recently, we don't want to create any congestion in that big, the wide open lane between the 200 section and the 300 section. So we just want to keep the students flowing down into their rows as quickly as possible.
Okay. Two questions here. Are they allowed to wear face paint?
If you can wear it to school, you can wear it to the event.
Okay. And for the questions, will they answers be multiple choice?
Yep, so answers will be multiple choice. And I know that a lot of people have this question, so I will just take a moment to try to make it as clear as I can. Questions will be multiple choice. There will be at least answers. There will be at least 4 multiple choice answers, right? So each of those answers will contain the title and the author. one of those answers will be the correct title and the author. As far as red herrings for this year, yes, we will include that, and it will be in the format of incorrectly paired titles and authors, but it will include all of the titles and authors that are listed in our book list. So I say that to say, none of the red herrings will be authors that do not exist on our list. None of the red herrings will be titles that do not exist on our list. But some of them will have the wrong title paired with the wrong author. But the correct answer, of course, will always be there and will always be the title and the author together. And you're rewarded the 2 points for bubbling in that right answer.
Okay. If two kids on our team have a costume like a sandwich board, is it okay if they take it off after they sit down so they're comfortable?
Absolutely. I don't want to sit in the sandwich board.
Yeah, yeah.
It won't fit in the seats, so that's something to keep in mind. It's going to be right in
Right,
front of
yeah.
your legs or on your lap the whole time.
Yeah.
Can I do a couple from chat?
Mhm.
Okay. So if a coach is accompanying the team during the Bob Live competition, then what is to prevent the coach from helping the team answer the question?
Integrity. You know, this is we're relying on all the coaches and their teams to respect each themselves and their fellow contestants. To be honest, yeah.
And setting a good example for the students that we're raising and educating.
Okay, so this person said they're confused. If the awards are given out the night of the battle, then what do the final scores that will be mailed 14 days later represent?
Oh, good question. We're still going to announce the highest score at the battle. It's just the trophy, and just to clarify, the trophies that go to the schools for the 3 highest scores, that's going to be sent after the battle, as well as everyone's final score will be provided after the battle. But the top scoring teams will be announced. And just to reiterate, the other categories are going to receive their medals on site and their certificates on site.
And also,
And maybe just to, yeah.
I was going to say, when the teams with the highest scores are announced, their actual score is not announced.
Right.
Like, we'll just say, you know, the book babes had the highest score, but you don't know what their actual score is.
True.
Correct.
So,
Thank
so
you.
that's what will get emailed to you 14 days later, are the actual scores.
Right. Thank you for that
And-
clarification. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
And
Stacey.
this was with the coaches, because somebody had also asked about switching halfway through. There's no switching with the coaches halfway through. It's one person for the whole time, correct?
One person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You won't be able to
oh.
go, oh, sorry, I just saw that. Can we change our answer? I was gonna say, you can't go back and change your answer in
Oh, so
Zoom
you-
or in person.
So once you pick an answer, that's it.
I
so-
believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Just like in the in-person battles, once you circled it and you handed it in, that was it. So same with
Well,
the
the-
device.
Well, the difference is within the 30 seconds, you could erase your answer. So I think if they
Or,
pushed
yes,
one
choose
button,
another. Yeah,
could they change it before they hit submit, or once you hit it, it's submitted? I think
I would like to triple check that, Stacy, just to
Okay.
see if the capability is there, but when the time is
Sure.
up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can teams create their own dance for the dance break?
Sure, if it's safe in your seat, or, you know, at your seat at Merriweather.
And you're just dancing in your seat. Nobody's actually, you're not taking turns dancing. Like, you're not
You're not
spotlighted.
going.
to
You're not
dance,
going to
so-
the mosh pit. You're not.
Right.
Yeah.
The seat is the stadium seats where you've
Right.
got enough room to sit and put your knees, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, can teams have a video for the poster?
If you had a video, we would only play a static image of your video because of the
Yeah.
way that
Yeah.
the poster parade is being set up. So it's a
Let's just say no.
fun idea, but it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And assigned seats are just assigned sections.
Correct.
Yeah.
Assigned
That's right.
seats.
That's right.
Yeah, you're gonna have an actual seat.
You have, yeah. Well, sorry, Stacey, let me just go back really quick. You're assigned your section, you're assigned your rows. When your team gets to your rows, you can choose who sits in
Right,
which
right.
chair. Yeah,
But your team has seats 1 through 5.
yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
Okay, what percentage of the questions will be about the book and what percentage about extraneous parts, dedication, copyright, cost, back covers, etc.?
I think the best
don't know.
answer is
There is no
just
percentage.
100%. Right. Well, all the questions will be about the books.
So here's something
Yeah.
we used to say, Rita and I used to say when we had the in-person battles, that think about what you're doing for the contest and what we're trying to accomplish with this contest. If you think that your time is really well spent studying minutia of, I was asked about ISBNs one year, studying that kind of minutia, you might want to rethink that a little bit. If we're looking at questions like an author's note, something about the author or vocabulary or something at the end, that's usually some kind of tangential relation to things that are important about the book. So kind of use that as your guide. This is not to see how much we can trick you into coming up with these answers. We want people to read. We want the participants to have read, to have fun, to work together. And I'm not sure that studying that level of minutia is in the direction that you want to go.
Yep,
Know
good
your
answer.
chapter titles, be familiar with the content and the images and anything written by the author.
We're not going to ask you what font the book was written in. Or...
Will there be
Or
one
are we?
set of
No.
winners or six?
No.
Will there be one set of winner or six sets of winner? I can't talk. Winners.
Six sets of winners, 1 per seating section. Yes.
And we have the entire length of the event. What time do we predict it will be over?
And usually we're over by 10. It's, so that's our best guess. We've never had 300 teams all competing in the same place before. So that's another reason why we're encouraging teams to come earlier than we had in the past, because everything will take a little bit longer.
And it could be a longish walk to and from your car as well. So
Exactly.
you want
Right.
to keep that in mind. What type of device is it? An iPad?
No, it's a remote response device. So and we will post a photo of the device as well as the device's display that you'll be answering in, as well as samples of exactly what we talked about, the multiple choice answers. It's a handheld remote device. You can, it has 10 buttons on it. You can liken it to a remote control if that helps your visual right now, but we will make sure that that is shared directly with our coaches.
Will it be obvious which questions are bonus? You will be told which questions are the
Mhm.
bonus questions.
Right.
And it's the last question in each round. So it's question 20 and question 40.
How will ties be broken?
Through a tie-breaking round.
Okay, so answering is multiple choice. My team went to wear superhero eye masks. Are those prohibited? Only if they're prohibited in school.
But
Yeah.
that goes with the no mask. Remember? No eye masks.
Eye masks, yeah.
So no.
They could put them over there on their foreheads.
Yeah, along with
They can
that,
use face paint.
there was
Face paint.
large handmade glasses made out of cardboard. If it obstructs your view, you have to remember there's stairs. You have to go up and down that are not normal space stairs. So they have to have really good peripheral and all around vision.
Yeah.
Let's see, that one. Sorry, I'm reading through. Can you include photos on the digital poster, or is it better not to? Photos
As
of
long as
team
they're
members.
not photos. I was gonna say, as long as they're not photos of the books or any of the titles, just that's an important thing to remember. Just no titles, no authors, no pictures of the books on the poster, but we had posters last year with team members' photos on them.
Okay. Team members who can no longer attend because of the date change, but they've been participating and practicing, will they still receive a medal?
Well, only the winning team members for the overall scores receive the medal. So I guess it depends on whether their team is one of the top scorers. So we can talk about that.
Okay, they can't participate because the date changed. They want to know if they still get an award for.
Yeah, we can cross that bridge if we come to it. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, how close will the teams be to each other, i.e. will they need to whisper their discussions? You're sitting in auditorium seating.
Auditorium seating next to each other, and again, like on top of each other, front and back. And we will leave, we have designed our seating chart so that there's a seat or more between each team. Even if that team is from the same school, but just between each team. So I think when everybody's talking at once, and teams are focused on making their own answer choice, we should be okay. But those are the kind of, I guess, limits or arrangement that we're in, auditorium seats.
But you're not right next to each other, one seat between teams, sounds like.
So you're not right next to each other, but
Teams.
there's somebody right in front of you and right behind you. So that's
Yeah.
actually even closer than if
Yeah.
somebody was sitting next to you. So yes, whisper your discussions.
Correct.
We've already answered no switching between rounds for coaches. How many points possible?
2 times 40, 80 plus 1, 2,
Four more.
4, 84.
84, yeah.
We're doing that. Here's a question. Will family members actually be able to see their children compete?
That's a very good question. Carrie, show them. You're going to be seeing the back of your child's head. You know the back of your child's head very well. You will be able to see your child compete. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, and that's whether you're inside the amphitheater or in the lawn seating. Yes.
Right,
Okay,
now, keep in mind, there is the jumbo screens. But
Correct.
yeah, it's not the same as when we were in person in a high school gym and audience members were on either side of the gym floor, which is where the teams were seated. So yeah, all the teams will be in front of you. So it just won't be the same, but yeah, you can, if you recognize the back of their head.
And Christy, you're right. That's a good point. We are, the AV team is going to pan the audience and do exciting things like that. So there will be times where students at complete random will be able to see themselves projected, and you may catch a glimpse of them there. Yeah.
Think of like if you go to a hockey game and you just look at the Jumbotron, and every once in a while you might see yourself waving like a crazy fan. So kind of like that. Can coaches dress up as part of the team?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if the coaches can dress up, will they be part of the judging for costumes? Important to consider what the total picture looks like for judging. How will the judges
That's a good
know?
question, I think.
How will the judges know, be able to see the costumes?
So what the judges, what they have typically done is they have wandered through the space where everyone's competing, and I anticipate they will do the same again this time.
But there won't be a parade like there was in person.
No, we are not planning a parade because, quite honestly, trying to get 1,500 students in a parade in the time we've got is just not feasible. But the judges, I really do anticipate that they will kind of wander through the amphitheater right through the aisles. And I think their focus is really more on the students than it is the coach. I mean, the coaches have usually dressed up like their team as well, but I don't know that they are especially a consideration for the best costume.
Okay, so here's a couple of questions. How do you determine which teams are placed in a section? Is it based on county geography, random, etc.?
That's a great question. We have a
Usually-
subcommittee who put that together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're
We-
following
yeah.
the division distribution that we followed for the high schools as well. So you can look at the sections as you looked at the high school locations, and there's a committee that goes through and groups the schools in teams at each location.
Right.
So we've
So-
just adapted the same for the venue.
So all the teams from the same school will be in the same sections.
Yes.
And then they try to divide it up by, so that the different groups are equitable sizes in terms of number of teams.
Right. But it's not necessarily geography based. The only thing we can tell you for sure is that all the teams from one school will be together in the same section.
Okay. Since we're arriving early, is it possible to go for a picnic or for dinner on the lawn with the families and then come back to our seats before the battle?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I
That's
think
why
that's a
food and
great
drink are allowed. Yes.
Yeah.
And the
But you need
co-coach,
to be back in your seat in a very timely fashion, way before the 6:45.
and the co-coach come into the seating area to deliver items to our team if they need something during the battle, I'm assuming.
What would they need?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they would need because they can't have the books. We really encourage them not to bring any device, like phones, obviously, things like that. So I'm not sure that they would need anything.
Because we
if
don't want
they-
people
we-
coming up and down.
Yeah, we will
Steps.
have event staff and volunteers there to help. And so probably the best thing is to talk to one of those staff people if there's an issue. Oh, an inhaler. I see that. You're sure that's absolutely something that could be delivered. And so we'll have event staff there who can assist with that. Yeah.
And if somebody needs something like an inhaler, you might want to consider having like a fanny pack and letting the student keep it with them. And that way, you don't have to worry about, can I get it to them in time? That way they're sure to
Yes.
have it on them. So
Yes.
I would recommend doing that.
And if we can quickly take a step back to the question about students joining their parents for a picnic on the lawn and, dining before the event, just make sure, I don't know if we said this or not, just make sure your student checks in first and knows exactly where their seat is before they do that. Rather than
thank you for
trying
that.
to come and check in later.
Yeah, because if they haven't checked in and they try to go down after 6:45, they will be
Right.
sitting with their family on the lawn.
Right.
They'll be disqualified if they're not
They'll be-
checked.
yeah.
How do you anticipate the entire, I'm not sure if this is asking how long it's going to be. It's asking about the entire in-person event being, but I'm thinking it's asking how long do we anticipate the event being? They are usually
Oh,
2
and we already talked
hours.
about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we think from
Yeah.
7 to 10, you can plan for the actual event. Of course,
Right.
we're receiving students earlier than that.
Okay.
Okay,
So go ahead.
so each question will only have, as the 4 choices, only titles and authors. No questions will be asked about other aspects of the book, what happened, who did what, who was the villain, only to correctly answer the correct title and author.
The correct
What-
title and author will be the answer, as always. So the question can be any of the question types that we shared earlier in the presentation about quotes and things like that from the book. The answer will always be
Mhm.
title and author.
Okay. If the coach or assistant coach cannot be there, can another parent take their place?
Yeah.
That's always been yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are costumes and poster a requirement?
No, I
optional.
mean, they are optional, but I mean, just keep in mind that we're giving awards for those. So it's, yes, absolutely, it's optional. If your team does not want to, cannot do it for whatever reason, that's not a requirement to be part of the event.
Okay, if a coach has to take a kid to the bathroom, do they leave the rest of the group behind? So if a child has to go to the bathroom, they'll be directed to staff up along the way to the
Who
bathroom.
can take them
So the
or
coach
show them
stays
where the
behind.
bathroom is.
What if school dismissal is late?
Um,
Yeah,
I'm not
between
sure how
4:30
late any
and
of the schools
6:45.
are.
yeah, I think the latest the school gets out, I heard, is like 4:15, I believe. So they should still have plenty of time to get there by 6:45.
Yeah, so you don't, so if you're not there by 4:30, you're fine. You just have to get there by 6:45.
So the question might be coach or assistant coach who are teaching at said school. What's the
Oh.
latest a coach can check in?
So they just need to make arrangements. If the coach or assistant coach is delayed, then they need to be in touch with one of the parents.
Will the battle pause if a team has technical difficulties? And related, will there be tech help if a device seems to not be working?
Yeah, there's tech help, and just to kind of, I guess, paint, I'll spare you all the logistical details, but to paint the picture a little bit, these techs are dedicated techs that work for the device and software company, and they come in a couple days early to set up and test and run their devices. So yes, there will be on-site technical support, and of course, we will have staff and volunteers in the aisles that you can let know that you're having an issue, and that can keep record, of teams who experience an issue and don't get their device back before the next question.
Okay.
But I think the question was, will we pause the battle? And I think the answer to that is probably not. No, correct?
Hopefully, I mean, unless it's some catastrophic thing, which we hope not, of course.
Right.
And if that were the case, we may just have to go old school and just say, keep track on the back of your hand or something, and we suspend scoring. Well, hopefully we won't get to that point, but
yeah.
Okay. Are the answers evaluated based on first team to answer correctly, or it doesn't matter as long as teams answer it correctly?
Doesn't matter as long as teams answer correctly. So the
Yes.
most correct answers is how we're deciding the top scores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the device have a pen like a writing utensil that the children's used, or do they use their finger? Did you say
They
buttons?
use their finger. It's buttons, 10 buttons.
Like
so
a
they'll
physical
select.
button.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, a physical button. That's a good point. Not a touch screen button.
like
Okay.
a remote control kind of thing.
Yep. Mhm.
Oh, that's what you said, remote control. Okay.
Yeah, like a remote
Uh,
control.
Cardboard, sword, and axe will be considered as weapon or not? Those are
If your school
weapons.
it's a weapon. If your school was considered a weapon, then we consider it a weapon.
Yeah, just because it's made out of cardboard or paper, it doesn't matter. It's still a representation of a weapon.
Yeah.
Is it too late to change the designation of who is the main coach and who is the assistant coach on a given team? I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but please email the Bob alias bob@hclibrary.org to let us know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the question is just, of course, related to who gets to attend or who is attending the in-person event. Earlier we said just one coach, but I don't think that means it has to be the main coach. It could be the assistant coach. Just one coach is seated with the team.
We just want one adult body with them. Can coaches bring students with them who are not their children, or does each student need to have a parent? You can bring your whole team if you want.
You can, yeah, exactly. And yes, your students will get in at 4:30 with you if you do.
Yeah.
So coaches that arrive with students at 4:30 will be admitted.
How about reference sheets? Will they be provided?
Because we have the multiple choice answers displayed, we determine that there's no need for a reference sheet. If you would like on your own to print out the book list, not to bring, but just to go over and practice. Stacey, I love your. Should be
no cell phones.
If you like to print it out and go
electronic-
over it and just work through that with your team to help practice your answers.
Right, but that's for practice. You may not
That's for
bring it.
practicing. Yeah.
Right. The reference sheets were in the past, they were at the battle because your tiny piece of paper just had numbers and letters with no information on them other than circling a number or letter. But now you'll have the actual answer next to that button.
Yep.
So you don't need a reference sheet.
Yep. And the questions and answer will also be displayed. So they're not only being spoken. So again, you have visuals.
Right. Can you go over the agenda the way you described it before? It doesn't seem like a 3-hour event, so I'm surprised to hear it ends at 10.
Well, first we are, go ahead. No, Chris, you got it.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, as we said, we're kind of guessing because we haven't done anything on this scale before. It's always been a smaller event. So we're just anticipating that when you what's the word for 6 times the event, like, the amount of people that it will take longer. So we may be done before 10, but just be prepared.
I will
We've
say,
always-
even when we were at the individual schools, because you had a parade, that took a while. We never started right at 7. We had a lot of people talking and giving like little speeches at the beginning. That took a while. Reading the questions 2 times. And I mean, we don't have, in the past, we've had runners, and that took time to get things delivered. But you'll have the device, people will do that, and then you'll give the answer. So it takes longer. And as Christy said, the more people you add to that mix, the longer it's going to take. You're just adding time. So the thing to do is prepare. You prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So you say, okay, it could be 10, and you get out at 9:30 and you're like, woohoo, we're early. It's better to think, oh, we're going to be done by 9, and then, oh my God, we're here at 10. So
Right.
So
That
there's
is-
a
Yep.
couple of things that are all related as well. So can we bring a book and pen to write with? No paper, no pencil, nothing to write with. You get the device, no cell phones, no electronics. Am I missing anything?
Yeah. No, that's good.
so
And,
like for
and
the
I did
coach,
see a question,
Oh.
someone asked, what if I need to get a hold of a parent, I'm a student's parent? That's why we have volunteers, event staff who are going to be working and helping. Now, yeah, I mean,
Photos. Team photos. We talked about
Oh.
coaches can have their phones for
for team photos, right?
photos, yeah. And actually, perhaps maybe even, students, we talked about may want to use their phones for team photos. So,
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing is we've always said no phones on the gym floor. Obviously, again, we're going to have event staff who are going to be looking, kind of monitoring and making sure that people aren't using their phone to be looking up answers. But again, we hope that everyone is respectful of their fellow contestants and will not do that. We're not patting anyone down and taking your phones away from you, anything like that. So
I think we just go
we're
back
all
to
going to do the best
integrity.
we can.
When we talked about
Yeah.
integrity, I mean, this is another example of being the good example of how you would like your students to be.
sorry,
go.
really quick, Stacy, on this
Mhm.
same question, I think part of the question was the format, like the program of the event. So once we actually begin, of course, there will be opening remarks, there will be housekeeping rules given. One fun thing that we haven't mentioned yet is there's a DJ MC that's going to be helping us with the transitions and playing music and helping us with the dance break. So we'll have a live DJ because we're at Merriweather, so let's be at Merriweather, right? So we'll after we have those remarks, housekeeping rules and game rules, housekeeping notes, we'll begin the battle, have the first round, which is the 20 questions, go into the 20-minute break, come back and have the second round, which is the last 20 questions. After that, we will then go through all of the awards. So have the award ceremony for all of the categories we discussed.
Okay. Again, we've got questions about passing food or anything like that to the seated team if they're not sitting with us. No, you don't need to pass food during the competition because they should be working together, not eating. But if you want to do it during the break, you can.
Right. And of
A
course,
question-
if there's someone who needs an accommodation and needs to have food for a medical purpose, certainly that can be accommodated. Yeah.
And I think too, that's what we've done in the past is we've had people who are diabetic and they had a fanny pack, and that way they had the granola bar or whatever they need right there. So there's no need, because especially now where we don't have to worry about no food in the gym, you can have the food with them. So if there's somebody in your team who is going to need for medical reasons food with them, make sure they have it with them. And that way you don't have to worry about the panic of, oh, I need to get something to my child.
Okay, so there's a lot of questions about the device. Will it time out automatically at 30 seconds? Will it automatically start when the time starts? Those are some of them.
Because I appreciate that. Yeah, because we're working on finalizing all of that with our vendor and contracting, going through the details, I think the best way to approach this is for us to gather and confirm all of those details and then send a direct message to our coaches, again, showing you an image of the device, an image of its display, and breaking down exactly how it's going to operate during the battle.
Could we maybe even make a little video of it?
Yes.
Okay, and this came up before in relation to that, and perhaps we can put in some practice questions before the battle starts.
We
So
plan for that.
everybody gets a chance to
Oh, yeah.
do that. I
Yep,
think we
we
did
plan
that
for that.
last year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just two,
Okay.
yeah, two or three kind of benign questions. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Our team costume has sunglasses. Will those be allowed?
I think sunglasses have been allowed before.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, if it's cloudy, rainy, and darker, and they're wearing them, they need to take them off their eyes to go up and down those stairs. Just so
yeah,
they
be
can see
aware.
well.
Just
Okay. How many judges will there be?
a lot. There we have a set of judges for every seating section.
Okay.
And we actually are in the process of inviting them right now.
Could we decorate the seats group section?
Probably not. What we're trying to
Mm-mm.
do is make sure that we are leaving Merriweather better than we found it.
Mhm.
So we don't want to do anything to their seats
Yeah.
that will cause them not to invite us back again.
That's right.
Speaking, that reminds me, I know somewhere earlier on, not today's meeting, we asked coaches to please let us know if there needed to be any accommodations for students for the battle. Now knowing that there's going to be many steps, many wide steps to go up and down, if there are any issues with mobility, and you need accommodations, let us know as soon as possible. There is seating if needed, and the whole team would have to be repositioned. So let us know as soon as possible if there's any mobility concerns for this
And-
location.
And to that point too, we did forget to mention that we'll have ASL translation projected at the event. So if your need is for sign language interpretation, you don't have to necessarily worry about where you're seated because it'll be projected for anyone really at the event to follow. But please definitely just still let us know that so we can be cognizant of it when we're seating your team.
Okay, I've got a question. This is with the coaches and switching. Apparently April 29th is the same evening as the River Hill High School prom. And so it looks like a coach has a high schooler who is going to prom and wants to know if they can have a parent on the team start with the team, but then switch out when she gets there after prom. In the
Maybe at
past,
halftime. Let's talk about that. We'll get back to that parent.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
emailed us on the side.
Please
so.
email us. Yeah.
Okay, she already did. I just saw it in my email.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw it both places. Will spectators be allowed to bring long chairs or is it blankets only?
Nope.
can
Anything
bring-
you can bring to Merriweather generally you can bring to this event.
Okay.
Lawn chairs, blankets, coolers.
Yeah. Can assistant coach enter with the coach and team at 4:30?
Mhm.
I think yes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it too late for the teams to change their name?
Yes.
Yes, a resounding yes.
Yeah, that-
Sorry.
Yes, that deadline was
Okay.
February 7th.
Yeah. Oh, okay. For Muslims, it will be a fasting day and fast opens at sunset. Some Muslim kids and coaches will be fasting. Will there be an accommodation for that during the competition?
So I saw that question down below also, and someone asked if they could carry a snack, and absolutely.
Mhm.
I guess my question is there any other accommodation that we need to make? And so
Okay.
we would ask you to contact us directly so that we can learn more about what we might need to do.
Yeah.
But
in terms
certainly
of
if
space.
it's right, if it's
Yeah.
snack, you're certainly welcome to bring that with you.
And
Okay,
please let us know as soon as possible because we're in a
yes.
position where we can make that accommodation
Yes,
depending on what it is
yes.
now.
Okay. Can the coach provide guidance for the questions and not reveal answer? Is the purpose of the coach sitting next to the students to help them with anything as an adult, but not to talk to them about anything about the questions?
So in previous years, the coaches always sat with another team. We would ask every coach to move a couple of seats over, so that the coach wasn't helping to guide the students to the right answer. You're really there to support the team and to encourage them, and if they need something, to help them and find an adult, another adult or something. But really, your kids should be coming up with the answers all on their own.
And in the past, I think coaches have been able to like repeat a word just because if they couldn't hear it, but now not only are they hearing it, but they're also seeing it. So you
on the
shouldn't
screen, right?
have to worry about that as well. I do not see the Dropbox links for the posters on the website. Can you please add that to the chat or the website? So this will be on the website,
Yeah,
correct?
the Dropbox is not on the website yet, but we'll
Okay,
email and put it up.
Okay. All right, so there's still lots of questions about the snacks, and so we could just say you may bring a snack with
Yes.
you down
Yes,
in the.
yes, yes.
There will
We've
not be
answered
any
that already. Yes.
concessions. There
Right,
no
right.
concessions.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, and more questions about the Muslims and snacks, and absolutely. We've got apparently good Girl Scout principals. Let's see.
Here's one. So
Okay.
since there's some sections that have lots of wide rows, well, all the teams, they want to talking about access to bathrooms. So if they have to go like during the battle, will it be easy for them to get out to use the restroom? When we're in the schools, we always ask for them to wait between questions to come in and out. So that should work as well in this location.
And I think some of that
Yeah.
goes back to how much stuff like you have with you, and by the way, costumes and posters that are on the floor, on the ground, all of that makes it a little, takes a little longer. Costume props, all of that makes it take a little longer to get in and out. But we've received this in email as well. I just want to say, encourage students, again, between questions, to prioritize their health and their bodily needs, like whatever, they need to do to take care of themselves during the event is fine.
All right. So if a student leaves between a question to go to the bathroom, they can't return to their team until the next time it's between a question. So they may miss a question or two in their process of going to the bathroom, but that's also why there's a long intermission, so that the students will have the opportunity to use the restroom again.
And do they have we have staff members accompanying them towards the bathrooms?
We don't take them into the bathroom, but we'll direct them to the bathroom.
We'll direct
Yeah,
them.
we'll have
staff members.
wayfinders.
Yeah.
Yes, just
They'll
kind of
be
wayfinders
staggered along
way.
the
Correct.
path to the.
Yep, from the
Yeah.
time that you
Yeah.
enter at one of the gates, so the west gate, north gate, or south gate, from the time that you enter at the gate from Merriweather, there are volunteers there. There are volunteers along the way leading into the amphitheater, on both sides. And we'll make sure that there's some volunteers between the entrance to the amphitheater and the restroom areas.
Okay, so this is a question that's been in here over and over again. How do you determine the winner of the Best Sportsmanship Award?
Oh, that's a great question. Hang on a second, I've got that here. We're giving, sorry, asking, let me pull up the file. We're telling judges to look for things like, hold on. Good sportsmanship-like behavior. All right, I just wrote this down. Now, here we go. So teams will be judged on kindness, how welcoming they are, respectfulness, responsibility, safety, and enthusiasm.
Okay. How about there are more than 3 teams getting the highest score in one section? I'm not sure I understand that.
So it's first, second, and third place.
Oh, okay.
So so there's the top scoring, the second highest scoring, and the third highest scoring, and then of course it could be that there's a top score and 2 teams tied for second, or even 3 teams tied for second, once we go through the tiebreaker round.
Okay. What is the security for students with the members of public being able to enter the facility? How will staff be identified by students?
So we'll have, t-shirts that identify
the-
us as being event staff.
Are they those blue t-shirts? Those
We
blue
haven't
ones?
determined the color yet,
Oh,
but it'll
okay.
be bright and bold and you'll be able to recognize us. Christy, can you just go back to your, I think you mentioned 4 pieces of criteria for the best sportsmanship category: kindness.
Yeah, kindness, welcoming, respect, responsibility, safety, and enthusiasm.
Thank you.
And I should note, what we have not added to the website yet, but this will also go on the website tomorrow, is the coach handbook. So usually we have that out in the fall. Obviously this year it's not up yet because we're still working out so many of the details. But that is outlined in that booklet as well.
So this question, I know it was answered before, but the way it was written, I'm going to read it again. The person is asking, can there be 2 coaches with the team? The coach, the assistant, the coach plus 5 kids, 7 total, only 1 coach, or the assistant coach can sit with the team. The other one would be in extra seating farther back away from the team, correct?
Yeah.
So, let's talk about that. We'll talk about that offline. We'll get back to everybody. How about that?
Which part is that? Because I've got another question about
The assistant coaches, whether they can switch out during basically halftime.
Or
Okay.
just stay
Or
with that
stay
team the
with
whole
the team, that's
time
what- yeah.
because there's more seating.
If
In-
they
Yeah.
both want to sit.
well,
All right,
Um,
we'll get back to that, everyone, about that. We'll talk about that offline and get back.
okay. Can you go over the tiebreaker again? Because apparently you broke up during the answer.
Oh,
Okay.
just that,
couldn't hear.
okay. So the plan for top scores is there's a first place team, a second place team, and a third place team. If we have at the end of the round, at the end of the regulation play, we have a tie, we'll have a tiebreaker round. If at the end of the tiebreaker round, we still have a tie, then we have a tie. So
we're not just,
we don't keep going until we break the tie, right? Like,
okay.
so in previous years, we had we could have a tie for first.
Mhm.
Or we could have a first place team and 2 teams tied for second.
Right.
So that's
if 2
outlined in this coach handbook as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Christy, I would love to know, while we're here, we're in this forum, somebody else just asked, could we please consider coaches switching out at the break? I am now curious just about the coaches' reason or interest in doing this. Is it because of the timing of the event or the opportunity to be able to experience it with the team? I'm just wondering what the concern is.
It could be that. I know, so again, in previous years, in-person events,
Opportunity, sorry,
Opportunity, yeah.
a coach just said, okay, I figured, I was,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, 'cause
figured that's
yeah,
it.
so
in the-
That's
in previous
wonderful.
years, it was just, we could only accommodate 1 coach on the gym floor, and
Yeah.
then the assistant coach sat in the stand. So we'll talk
Yeah.
about that. We'll get back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
we'll
you,
get an answer
Meg,
for that.
and the other coaches for clarifying that. And I think it's very helpful to know. And, one of the things that we had talked about initially that we can also discuss and then get back and confirm is whether or not the assistant coaches can possibly volunteer in other capacities if they have the time and availability to be dedicated to the event, if they could be some of our staff volunteers, some of our event volunteers at the event in other roles. But I also would encourage to help wrangling the students as they're arriving, like assistant coaches can help with that as well, making sure they get seated and all of that before. But as Christy said, we'll get back about seating with the team.
And I see a question here about if a coach needs to use the restroom, will a staff member be able to sit with the team? Yes, that's how we've done it in the past. Yes.
Let's see, here's a question. If there's a question related to a picture or image, will they see the image or will it be narrative? It is narrative. So it may be in which book was there a picture of such and such, or a picture of somebody doing such and such. So it will be descriptive.
Okay, so we've got some more questions about, sometimes adults get excited and end up helping their kids by facial expression, clapping, etc. Can you please have the reminder announcement at the event that coaches are not to help in any way? Sorry, but I've seen innocent helping in the past many times. I was told coaches would be swapping out with the team, so this concerns me a bit. The kids have worked so hard.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
goes,
we'll
and it
remind
goes back to the integrity, you know, and I know it's hard, you get excited. And we just ask everyone to do the best they can.
Any chance of an incorrect spelling of an author to throw the kids off?
No,
I think we decided against that.
no, just incorrect pairings. So all the
Pairings, okay.
spellings will be correct. All of the titles and authors will be from the list that we actually gave you all, the book list.
Okay, it says, as noisy as my team is, I can only imagine being in with 300 teams. A break would be nice. I anticipate it being in the middle of a concert at Merriweather.
Might want to bring earplugs. Yeah. All right. Have we hit all the questions?
Okay, I've come pretty much to the end of chat.
Nice.
I had one, will there be a space between teams?
Yes.
We already
Yes.
There'll
talked
be a
about that.
space,
Yeah.
a space or two between
Yeah.
teams
But that's in the row, not in the,
in the row. Not,
yeah,
across the row, not between the rows.
yeah. And,
Yeah.
and this person is very concerned. They said there could be a reminder.
Yeah, I wanted to speak
Announcement.
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So something to help hopefully appease the concern. Something we discussed is, of course, we're going to have housekeeping notes. Of course, we're going to announce the rules and go over things at the beginning of the event. We also are going to possibly include like a literal like integrity pledge, or reminder, you know, raise your hand if you understand, or repeat back to us, turn to your neighbor,
Put your hands
you
on your
know.
head if you hear.
Yeah, but we definitely want to be able to stress that verbally, on stage, amplified, before the event begins, for sure.
And I think it's kind of important to explain why we didn't want to switch, because first of all, close to 300 teams, that's a lot of logistics to try and figure out, to have them all here. And plus, we are still in the midst of a
Yeah,
global
that's-
pandemic,
Yeah,
and things are people have a lot of anxiety, and this was not the time or place to start moving people with people that they did not know, or, and let's be honest,
Yeah.
trust. And
correct.
just because for some health reasons you've been working with these kids for a while, so
Yeah.
you feel comfortable with them, and it wouldn't be fair to put to the students or the coach to put them with someone who they did not know at all. So I think that is something that was very important, that we wanted to try and make people feel comfortable this year.
Okay, just a couple more questions. Will there be questions on previews of the next books in the series that are at the end of some books? No.
I think that goes back to that other answer we gave.
All right.
And I have a student that still has not completed the registration. Is it too late?
The registration or the
Um,
permission, the permission form?
It doesn't say.
I
So
would
the
say email
registration
Bob.
is, yeah, email Bob about that.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that might be the permission form.
I
I
think
hope
it's the
that's what that
permission
is.
form. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Good.
Yep. Permission form. No, so
Okay.
it's not too late, but please get it in as
Yeah.
soon as possible.
There is not a mask mandate, and we are following exactly what Merriweather's policy is for vaccine verification, for masking, for all of the COVID related health, kind of responses or parameters. So there's not a masking mandate. However, masking is very welcome. And yeah, that's it.
Nor is there a vaccine
And
requirement.
that,
There's not a vaccine verification. for
Verification.
Merriweather.
right. Right.
Or negative test
Ultimately, it comes
verification.
down, do what you feel most comfortable. If you are comfortable wearing a mask, you are welcome to wear a mask.
Yep.
if you don't, that's fine too. But that's why we thought being outside was really the way that we could have everyone together.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you all of the coaches that have been saying thank you right now and throughout this. And we thank you as well. We just want you to know that we don't take for granted at all, like you juggling Battle of the Books and some of our other programs and events, along with all of the changes and challenges that you may have going on in your school. So thank you so much for your dedication, parents and teachers, to your students.
Yes,
and thank
absolutely.
you for being excited about being about being at Merriweather for Bob.
I just have to say, we are so excited too. We just can't wait for this event to happen. So we can't wait to see your fun, excited faces. And yeah, please, we will post a recording of this event as soon as we can. So it'll be with a live transcript at first, which means there could be mistakes. And then in the coming days, perhaps even next week, will be the kind of the official transcript. We'll be posting a copy of the presentation, and the links that we talked about are included as well. So a lot more information to come.
Yeah.
Please, 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 I can't stress this enough. Keep on top of your email. Whatever email you gave us, make sure you're checking that, because we will be sending more information about the venue and just other things. So,
Yep.
Yep. Good. All right.
All right.
We will hang on here for a few more minutes if there's any more questions, but y'all are free to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Someone asked for a coach with mobility issues. Is it possible to have a second adult there? Please email us directly offline so that we can help accommodate your need.
Yes, Stacy. Yep, it's in the,
I can't find it.
I'm not host, so I can't do it for you.
Okay. I can't do it at once though. All right, I'm going to stop recording.